introduce you to Shant and Mahesh from Borderless Access that will guide us on how to reboot competitive intelligence framework across Intact's ecosystem, especially within a 360-degree approach, an integrated one. So really looking forward to his presentation and what you can suggest. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us, even though this could be because of the reason that the parallel session is not happening. So, hopefully we'll make your time worthwhile by showing you some of the trends that we have seen as an organization, as a new age organization working across the globe. A quick way of my introduction, Dushyant Gupta. I have been in the industry for 20 plus years, especially on the market research side of the world, and I've had multiple Fortune agencies across CPG, tech, as well as finance sector. My colleague Mahesh Mengaya also has 20 plus years of experience, and his experience is across pharma brands, medtech, healthcare, and he is a specialist today. In terms of any questions, all those will be directed to Mahesh. Both of us are from Bangalore, which is the AI capital of the world. It is also the startup capital of the world. So in our free time, we also help startups in terms of understanding, healthcare startups in terms of understanding how they can achieve their goals in the market. So we took a satellite lens on our own industry, CI, as a entire spectrum, all the segments put together, and we saw some trends coming out, and especially during the comparison when we did pre-pandemic versus post-pandemic. We are a very, very mature industry because we understand the problems that we face that we need to solve. Of course, too much of data, too many data sources, so how do we align them, how do we concise them, and how do we put that across the customer stakeholders in an agile and a faster way. So this is good to know that everybody agrees that we are facing some challenges and we need to solve them. When we look at the lens post-pandemic, so reports from 21-22 from all the big consultancy firms, we looked at the problem has accelerated. Now everybody agrees that we need to do more CI. Everybody wants to do more and more data gathering, and the challenges will remain because they want it faster and they want it cheaper and they want to cover all the stakeholders in their organization about this. A lot of this was also spoken about in yesterday's presentations, and I'm very happy to see this presentation also spoke about the challenges that we face. We summarized all the trends for the current year, and these were the top 8 that came out. Going in depth into the data, having quality data, and the terms of quality are different in different companies. How do we make CI collaborative? And how do we adopt the newer secure technology solutions like cloud? Are the keywords that came out as the top CI trends. And the new buzzwords are CI on the go and AI, ML, NLP. How do we integrate all these fancy words into the CI platform? And when we saw yesterday that Pharma CI is far behind in terms of the curve, and it's all towards the jewelry side of the world. But I believe we are far ahead in terms of understanding these trends and understanding this problem. If you're openly talking about it, then definitely we are trying to solve it in a group. Now, focusing on the healthcare Pharma CI, I will now ask my colleague Mahesh to kind of take over and help us understand what are the things that are happening in the Pharma CI world and how we have, in our own small way, tried to kind of solve some of the issues that we just spoke about. Mahesh.
Thanks, so here's what we have seen when we try to analyze the whole CI part. The requests are changing. We see that it's just not restricted only towards the life sciences. People are starting asking us insights, give us insights around the patient part, provider part, also the physician part. We just try to map it. It's very illustrative so that you get to know like how the landscape is changing from just delivering insights. The green buttons are all about analytics getting merged with the CI part of the insights for life sciences along with patients. A lot of requests or understanding is going around health and wellness driven by patient perception and social media analytics. Along with payer side, it's about pricing, disease management, care management work, collaborating with pricing, regulatory landscape work. And this is the provider side, which is about brand awareness, usage perceptions, talking about patient engagement activities and trying to provide intel and CI around it. So looking at this illustrative landscape, so we try to understand how the evolution has happened around the CI space within healthcare. And it's interesting to know, like we see that the AI wave is just not coming in as a first generation, so there's a lot of automation which the CI function has got involved into and then moved towards CI portal environment. And now is when the AI is taking over. So when we try and understand why that's happening, there's a lot of data. This data is around 3-4 variations of flavors. A structured data, an unstructured data, there's a big data, there's also binary data. So many of them trying to bring this evolution of AI-driven kind of a solution on the CI world. So what benefits does it get us as a CI team or a CI function is, it helps us structure data in a nicer way so that the analyst is not getting confused in terms of deriving the KIQs or answering the key intelligent topics. It makes it very easy because there is algorithms which are running in the behind. Basically saves time, they can do multitasking on it. And it doesn't help them getting demotivated about reading and spending a lot of manual efforts. And they can seamlessly operate it across 24/7. So how will this basically allow a pharma company this AI solution to implement, or how do they walk this transformation? So we learned about a couple of CI elements and how do they aggregate themselves on a data platform and how the insights come out. So it's just a quick snapshot where we see like a lot of data sources. This is not a long list, so it's still illustrative. There are many other data sources. We tried to bucket a few of them, like daily news, KOL insights, regulatory, then a drug which is both inline pipeline work, and also social media now getting into the CI space. All of this trying to get into a space called a data lake, where all of the information is getting aggregated, a lot of data warehousing, algorithms analysis happening around real-time physician insights, patient insights, then conference coverages. So when we see this, these are still not outputs. So there's a lot of data still getting processed, assimilated, and then trying to become a report. So there comes the AI layer with something called an AI store, which records and captures all the keywords, what is necessary to be done. And from there, it's a data visualization going on to an AI platform. So these are some of the examples which talks about using this whole data, how it becomes very easy to do a accuracy or increase in accuracy on a pre-efficacy forecast or post-efficacy forecast, or even simple things like trying to figure out epidemiology analysis. This is a framework what we thought was trying to become the structure of the elements of CI. So now the question comes is like, if this is kind of a bit of complex, how will it help the CI functions to mature or transform to that level of an integrated environment? So we did research and we have implemented in various other industries like retail, CPG, telecom. So this framework is called organization maturity, and it takes 5 levels to it. And this is derived from organization maturity from Thomas Davenport, who's a professor in Harvard. It takes very simple steps and gets complicated when it comes to the right-hand side. Starts with traditional CI, where it's only working around few teams, smaller end users, moves to a localized CI, and that where it becomes interesting, where the CI team start looking at clinical trial data, they look at brand data, they start looking at multiple variations of data. Then there's a CI expert, which is the third level, which integrates a lot of regional data towards it, along with multiple functions getting involved, like marketing, sales, R&D, medical affairs being part of it. But that's still not enterprise-wise. When they go to the next level, which is CI influencer as well, all the end users try to look at what the CI output is coming out to be. And that's now getting translated to the whole evolution, where it turns to be a portal or it turns to be an AI-driven solution. And this aspiration of most of the companies trying to achieve the integrated CI part, because the AI engine is still evolving, it's still not accurate. But the question comes is like, if this is the 5 levels of transforming to the best of the CI function, how do we get there? So the answer is here. So there are 5 levers which play together, so that it helps the clients to make sure that none of the levers are getting down. So we have these skills, we being a market research company, after analyzing the words of Thomas Davenport, we've designed this 5 parameters, the data being the first one. Most of the time what we observed was the data is just thrown on a library. It has not been processed or no one sees to it, but the end user asks for a report. So we've done a database which is taking a 5-scale metrics, which starts about data quality, data management, data processing, and that's a small packet about data which has its own scoring mechanism. And we tell that the CI functions basically on which place on the data part. Then comes the technology part. Most of the time we see like it's a mixed model. There's efforts on manual efforts, plus there is some part of automated, which is like a RSS feed getting automated or a report getting automated. And then from there, there's Power BI visualization which takes over. So there's a scale to technology as well, to how the people walk on the technology path. Then there's processes. Normally what we have seen is the CI team which works after a certain period of time, there's a new team. People move on for a different role and the processes are lost. Having those standard SOPs or the documentation helps the company to manage both the levers of data and technology very well. So if it's a new company who's coming in, they can understand the process and build it. The fourth one is the people aspect, knowing that how to handle the data, what technology to use, how the process works. People have to be getting to the speed. So these people are the CI analysts who are trying to deliver the work for the end users. Last one's interesting, that's where it's turning towards the AI and the platform part of the world. It's about insights, and there's something which is changing now. It's just not the mundane reporting, or it's just not the 20-pager or a 200-pager PowerPoint which is going out. Now there's a lot of analytics getting into it, including descriptive analytics, predictive and prescriptive analytics. Now the trick is how the analyst or a CI expert tries to use these analytical techniques in a right way so that he's giving the end user what they're looking for. So that's the 5 levers. Here's a quick example on what we have done in the past. So we're looking at the challenges when we map out someone on a CI journey, from moving them to a transformed way. So we look at all the parameters and where they are. And there's a wish list. After that, we do a wish list, like trying to see how we can merge this gap, what activities have to be done. So that's about how someone can take a journey or transform themselves to the higher level of CI. And there's some benefits of using this model. Basically, this model helps transition the processes, understand the data structures, also helps in terms of replicating many tasks quickly, which are like monthly or a quarterly kind of work, which does faster. And the ML algorithm, because it's continuously generating a lot of keywords, it learns on its own and it helps in delivery. So using this, we tried to see how does integrated CI on an ML platform really looks like. Please don't worry about the complexity of the slide. What we have done is I'll make it very simple. So we used all the end users on the left-hand side of the blue box. It can be anyone with R&D teams, medical affairs who throw in requests for the CI team. And they're dealing with all of this bottom layer of all the data which is coming in from the market. Be it real world evidence, industry data, real-time intelligence, commercial data coming out of Midas, Exponent, EDD, all of them falling in the data source library. But it's not processed, so we move that to the data tier, where it starts becoming to a data cube or a data structure slowly, so that the variables are coming out for the next layer, which is analytics. So it takes a little while for the engine to learn and segregate data correctly on a primary market research, because that will be binary data 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, and trying to translate to a report. So that's how the engine works with a lot of the other structured and unstructured data along with big data in the data tier. And from there, the engine starts processing towards the analytical data set, which can be used by the analyst. So that if someone puts a query on what are the inline and pipeline drugs for exactly on phase 3 or phase 2, it can easily pick by the therapy area. And so as an example about if someone's looking at a competitor and they want to understand the financials, investment patterns, so that's how the engine goes on the analytical data set. So what happens to the guy who's working from here? with this AI engine, it helps them very quick insights, which is on the top layer. They can easily do competition mapping, market landscape, regulatory landscape, or even work on complex work like promotional insights, therapy insights. So that's a quick snapshot on how someone walking through the transformational journey can integrate all processes so that it works seamlessly. And how does this really work? Now the question is this really real? So we did some work with few of our clients. There are some snapshots of how it gets integrated and works. So there's a drug life cycle which is going on the top. So this is how it works about a target product profile getting integrated with the KOL analysis. Both of them separate parameters along with the unmet need analysis. Quick snapshot of this, and on the drug discovery side. In terms of drug development, someone struggling with launch, it becomes very easy for them. So when they're coming with brand names, logo testing, pattern testing, all of that becomes very easy because the data is coming and it's getting aggregated at one point of time. Moving on from drug development, then comes the interesting stuff about launch.
Here are some snapshots on how we have delivered business value for various functions across the drug life cycle. Starting with R&D function, most of the R&D functions seek real-time physician and patient insights focusing on efficacy, safety, cost, and treatment regimen. So here's a snapshot which talks about how we analyze target product profile by brand against competition. It's a snapshot on how the assessment of unmet medical need happens on core parameters like efficacy, safety, tolerability, ease of use, ease of administration. While doing these kind of studies, we also analyze KOLs who influence or have major influence on driving prescriptions across the treatment. In KOL analysis, we generate real-time insights by interacting with physicians on a particular therapy. We also map local, regional, and national KOLs. The snapshot explains how the mapping happens. Along with the mapping, we provide insights on prescription drivers, willingness to prescribe, usage, perception parameters. The next function is LCM strategy. LCM strategy focuses on getting real-time brand insights, analyzing brand awareness, analyzing brand attributes, understanding physician perception and brand association. This snapshot is an illustration of our work on launch excellence. The left-hand side box explains the real-time intelligence work which we did for an upcoming product in terms of understanding physicians' associations on a brand logo, color palette of the logo, and also the messages, and also association of physician by each parameter of the product. So this study is a study which we had done on multi-country, which clearly explains us branding research and new product launch for supporting for launch and commercialization. The next function which looks for real-time intelligence is commercial teams. They look for end-to-end real-time qualitative and quantitative research insights, which include segmentation, perception studies, awareness trial, usage studies, and message testing services. In this example, we're trying to showcase the advanced visualization and analytics what we have delivered for commercialization teams. An interesting study on physician segmentation, message testing, and recall, which explains how physician perception is translated on patient characteristics. An example on how stage 4 metastatic diagnostic pattern helps commercialization teams to understand the time for referral. It also explains physician perception on dosing and their association from dosing relating to willingness to prescribe. It also explains physician uptake on products on a wave-on-wave basis. So in summary, this snapshot explains how commercial function looks for end-to-end real-time qualitative and quantitative studies. The next function which works closely towards commercialization across the drug life cycle is marketing. Marketing function continuously monitors and evaluates prescription patterns, brand promotions, usage, share of voice. These are the kind of requests what we receive when marketing stakeholders reach to us for real-time intelligence solutions. Here's an example on brand trackers and metric monitoring, which happens on a monthly basis, where most of our clients are interested to understand monthly switching of therapies, monthly utilization of drugs, prescription habits of physicians. Is it constant or is it changing, or are they leaning towards an upcoming product or a new product? The snapshot also explains how physicians' perception changes on a treatment regimen, and also it displays how physicians associate brand promotions for a product along with competitor product. And finally, a last snapshot about share of voice analysis on how physicians see their share of voice on critical parameters like efficacy, safety, cost, or even with drivers of prescriptions. The last and final function across the drug life cycle is strategy BD&L. So this function seeks insights on various business intelligence and CI, which includes work like market evaluation, technology evaluation, competitive movements, analyzing regulatory and reimbursement landscape. The snapshot has interesting illustrative outputs which talks about the work what we have done for gene therapies. It clearly explains market evaluation and competitor assessment on technology platforms and also on a competition in terms of brand kits. And finally, it also talks about the regulatory and the reimbursement landscape for the given target market. The left-hand side explains about our proprietary product. These are the snapshots about our integrated real-time cloud-based CI platform. This platform is our core service which we pitch in along with our real-time intelligence activities. This platform allows users to see real-time primary CI information along with secondary research and also with analytics insight in one cloud-based platform, which helps not only the CI teams but also teams across drug discovery, drug development, launch, commercialization, so that the whole organization gets to see all necessary information related to a brand around its journey starting from discovery till market launch.